representations about the loss of employment land. And one of the, and we mentioned this.
I'm really, do forgive me, Councillor. Even though I'm only sitting here, I couldn't hear you then. Well, I wouldn't ask you to do that, but you might be able to pull the microphone a bit closer, perhaps.
Right. Yes, the loss of employment land was one of the Trades Council's biggest concerns, and we've referred to it in the earlier Phase 2 hearings and in our submission, SID 609, and at the modifications stage. One of our biggest concerns is the loss of employment sites, particularly offices, to residential, which of course, as a result of the changes that the government made, doesn't actually require planning permission. So what we advocated was that there should be a policy introduced to protect key remaining office sites in the city, and I mean, it could be an amendment to EC2, or it could be a separate policy, in effect withdrawing the permitted development rights for the key remaining offices uses, and there were particular areas in the city, such as Piccadilly, Tanner Row, the Crescent, and Hungate, stroke P-Zone Green, where there are key remaining offices. I mean, the reality is, since we made those original objections, there has been substantial further loss. There is not a large amount of office space remaining now in the city centre compared with what there used to be.
Is a policy in a local plan capable of withdrawing permitted development rights?
At the back of my mind, I think we saw something, was it in Oxford's local plan? But I'm sorry, I'd have to check that and come back to you.
I think generally speaking, it would have to be done through an Article 4 direction, I think, so you'd have to withdraw it.
Yes.
Withdraw that particular form of PD
yes.
in the city centre.
I think the answer to that to my question is no.
Well, there perhaps ought to be a hook to an Article 4 being introduced to do that.
I think that would have to be some, well, you'll probably tell me, Mr. Linus, I won't put words in your mouth, go ahead.
No, well, in short, we agree. The hearing statement that we provided for matter 3 in phase 2 on economic development is paragraph 3.6.1 does recognise the issue, but says it's considering tools beyond the plan policies to manage office supply and support the implementation of the plan, including where appropriate, implementing targeted Article 4 direction in parts of York. But the other tool is restricting planning permissions for new development via condition or obligation to retain floor space in office use. We don't think it's appropriate to deal with that by way of policy, given that Article 4 direction would have to be brought into play to achieve it. But as we've said, it's something that's under consideration, albeit outside the plan process.
So I'm getting the sense that around this table we have a reasonably happy position in that most people agree about what policy EC2 needs to achieve. I think is that fair?
I think so, sir. I mean, we entirely agree about having an adopted policy to help deal with this issue. Secondly, we would hope, from what was being said in the hearing statements at the examination, that other parties on our side of the table are clear about how important we regard EC2 within the broader suite of policies to deal with employment land use in the area. And thirdly, we have proposed strong wording in policy EC2. We haven't heard anything today which suggests a specific policy drafting change which needs to be made, and we consider that the policy responds properly to national guidance in this respect.
I think, Mr. Mayor, you were looking to explore other things that might be added, and if there are any suggestions that the council thinks that it can do, restricting PD rights, unfortunately, isn't one of them. But I feel that I might have cut you off mid-flow of good ideas, and I didn't want to do that.
No, I'm afraid I don't have any more good ideas, much as I'd like to.
Okay. Yeah, please, Councillor Douglas.
Sorry, I just wanted to say that earlier when I was speaking about EC1, that EC2 was so important for it, and I think, you know, the data and statements that myself and other colleagues have made about that shows why it is important that EC1 and the allocation of employment sites is considered further, and there's some capacity there for flexibility that we believe, I think, isn't there at this point in time. So just feeding one back into the other, really.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything else on policy EC2? Okay, good. Right, I think I'm going to take our mid-morning break now. So I make it 10:54. Adjourn the hearing to resume at 11:15. Thank you.